Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be looking at the Cooky Cam. That is a Wi-Fi 720p mini wireless IP motion sensor / micro camera. Alright, now you're probably looking at the box and saying, well, it doesn't say any of that. In fact, not just this side, but as you can see, all the way around the edges here, and even the back only has a barcode, and even that doesn't tell you what the item is. Now, if you're wondering why that is, it's because this is an unbranded generic. And in case you're unfamiliar with that term, it essentially means a company makes an item, whatever it may be, and then they don't put any of their name or markings on it, and they sell it to another company who then plasters their name all over it and marks up the price and sells it to the consumer. Alright, so now because that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and show you the specs right now, because that's probably how you are going to find it if you decide that you want one of these for yourself, because the person you buy it from might not call it the Cooky Cam, they might call it something else. So it looks like this is coming up on camera, but yeah, there you go. So I'll just let you scroll through this real quick here. And over here, the literature I had says it can take a 32 gig card, but then when I read the instruction manual that's included, it said 64 gigs. So I'm not sure what one of those is right, but I would just, go with the worst case scenario. So let's just say 32 as being your max. Okay, so and now that you had a chance to look at this, just some highlights I'd like to point out here is the fact that the photo capture. Alright, so this doesn't have like a button just to take a quick snapshot. Instead, it does this every 15 seconds. It shoots a picture. I think some people call those like life cams or whatever, so you kind of get a sampling of what you did throughout the day, and those can be sometimes entertaining to check out. But anyway, that's important. The other thing, of course, it does not have a display. Some of these have the option, they have maybe like a very small display on the back. This one does not, so you are going to need another device to actually view what was shot or what is being shot with this camera. Alright, and built-in battery, of course, and yeah, okay, so those are that. So let's go ahead and get to the unboxing. Again, there's no reason to do around the box because we already did that and there wasn't much to see. So let's go ahead. There were no seals on this, so I didn't have to remove any fancy stickers or anything like that. And it's secured by just basically being one of these box-in-a-box type closures, like a shirt box or whatever, or a tie box. Alright, okay, so the first thing that comes out is the instruction manual, and this is the way it was folded. And the reason I point that out is because this is English and Chinese, but they have the Chinese side out. I've noticed a few sellers, what they'll do is if they know it's going to the States, they'll fold it so that the English is the first thing that greets you. Not a big thing, but just don't be scared when you see this thinking that the whole thing is in Chinese. So for those of us who don't read Chinese, and in English instead, you'll still be able to get a short, but I guess all-important operation manual. Alright, so there it is. The main unit's up top, of course. We have some there, and the USB cable. So let's start with the accessories. So this is micro USB. These are those adhesive stickers. They claim to be the 3M type. Let's see what they look like. I'll just peel back. Alright, so they're this kind of foam. Alright, now, oh, okay, yeah, so they're magnetic. Alright, so we have one with the clip, one without anything on the back, and then there's one more in here. This one, which has, okay, so you can see this has a threading inside, so it probably can be screwed onto like a tripod or something. Alright. Now let's get to the actual unit here. Alright. Charging micro SD card. And this is, no, you know what, actually I'm curious about something. Okay, so it appears that on the back, without using any attachments, just the main unit, it appears to have a magnet in there, because here's one of those little twisty ties, which of course has a wire inside, and you can see how it's attracted. So this is actually pretty cool, and I'll explain why. A lot of times when they use these magnets attachment pieces like this, this part will be the magnetic, and then on the back they'll just have metal back here. But this is better because this actually has a magnet back here, and the reason why that's important is because if you just want to adhere this to, like, let's say a refrigerator door, or you get it something that's metal, you don't even need any attachments. You can just put the camera directly onto the surface. So that's cool. Alright, now let's talk about buttons. So there's one button here on the front. I believe it's a button. I'll push it. Yes, and it does look like this has some shipped with some charge, because when I pushed that, something lit up. So, okay, on the side here we have a little hole, perhaps like either that's a light or it's a microphone. We also have a hole here up on top, again either a light or a microphone. And then on this side we have a button with the Wi-Fi symbol on it, and then there's definitely an LED, so that's a light. Status light, probably. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and charge it up. Oh, let's talk about weight. It's actually... It's not heavy, but it's heavier than if it was just made of plastic. Well, of course, because we have this magnet in the back, that's probably adding a lot to the weight. But it's actually, I'd say, a decent weight. It doesn't feel cheap, but at the same time it's not super heavy, which is, again, probably important if you're going to try to attach this to something. You don't want the weight of it pulling it off of that surface. Alright, and it does appear that it has shipped with a little protector over the lens. I'm going to go ahead and keep that on and see if I can shoot with it still on there as a form of protection. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the initial charging, and I'll be back. Alright, so I've had a chance to go ahead and charge up the device and also read through the instruction pamphlet. And just a quick some notes on initialization and setup. It isn't all that hard, but let's just go through some of the important bits. First, inserting an SD card. We all know it goes in the bottom, but it doesn't tell you on the instructions, or it doesn't even give you a little picture on the device and exactly how it's supposed to go in. However, if you're looking at it like it's positioned here, your micro SD card will be going in upside down. So in other words, you won't be able to see the 16 gigabit or 32 gigs written on the SD card. Okay, now let's talk about powering it on. To power it on, you go ahead and push and hold in this button here. By the way, that button is called the confirm button right there, and this here is like the mode switch. Alright, there's also LED indicators around the confirm button, and there's also an LED here to help you know what state it's in and what the device is doing at a given moment. Okay, so let's talk about powering it on. You push and hold this in. You should know that this device isn't basically ready to start shooting video the second you turn it on. So there is a little of a delay, so if you're doing some kind of action sport or whatever where you don't want to miss a beat, make sure that you have this ready to go in advance. Alright, so here we go, pushing and holding the button in. Okay, now, especially if it's your first time, you're going to start, you'll see at some point it's going to start flashing blue and red together. So we're just going to wait for that for a sec here. It should happen relatively soon. And that's the initialization. So they say that can take up to 25 seconds. Oh, well, it's waiting for that. There are 3 colors that the ring can light: red, blue, and blue and red together. And that later we'll use that to determine what shooting mode it's in, which is video, photo, and motion activated video start shooting, whatever you want to call it. So, okay, it didn't go blue and red, so I'm assuming that the initialization's already been taken effect. So we'll just go ahead and just change the mode. Okay, so what happened here, so it's working, and we're in a kind of ready state to do whatever. In this case, we'd start shooting photos. Keep in mind, by the way, again, the photos basically they fire every 15 seconds, so there really is no push to shoot. I mean, in essence, you could push it and it'll start every 15 seconds, and you could use that to shoot your first photo, but just keep in mind, unless you take it out of that, it's going to continue to shoot photos every 15 seconds until your battery either dies out or the card's full. Not sure if this thing has auto overwrite, so I wouldn't leave it in every 15-second photo mode if you don't actually want it to be, because you might find yourself with dead battery or card full. Okay, now the next push will bring us into this red-blue color you see here. Now, what that's doing right now is it's waiting to detect motion, and then it's going to start, when it sees motion, it'll start shooting video. Now, I've checked this out, and I haven't really found this mode really useful, not because it's not a cool idea, it's because that I haven't been able to set the device and then have it wait in a standby mode until it sees motion and then start shooting video. Essentially, start shooting video the second you push the button. So I'm not sure if I'm not doing something completely correct, if you have to be absolutely, like super steady-handed, not to even jar it a little bit. I'm not sure, but I haven't found that useful for that reason. So I'm going to get out of that mode. And, all right, now we're back to red. One thing, talking about all these colors here, one thing to know about this camera is it is one of those devices where it's shooting video or shooting photos when the light's not on. Unlike the big old VHS camcorders of old, when you had that blinking red light, or even more modern cameras have that, this one seems to be the opposite. When you see no light, it's doing something. Well, assuming, of course, you don't have the thing off. Alright, so right now it's waiting to take video, and if I wanted to start taking video, I'll go ahead and push this button, and see, light's off. So actually now it's shooting video. I assume this is kind of for like a stealth type thing, so people don't get distracted, or you don't draw attention to yourself by a big blinking red light. Alright, and of course to stop it shooting video, you push the button again, and there you go. Alright, so that pretty much covers that. What else did I want to say about it? Okay, yeah. Now, the SD card is where you're, so right now I am not connected to my phone, okay? And we'll get into that in a second. Right now we're just using this on its own. No phone, no wireless connection. Everything's happening within this device, alright? Then all that information, of course, will go to the SD card. And your controls, as far as what you can do, is pretty much limited to mode select and then hit the trigger or the shutter or whatever you want to call it. Now, of course, you can also use your, as you're probably going to most likely do, since you did buy a camera that's meant to be wirelessly controlled, you want to use your phone. And once you do that, I'll go ahead and just turn this off. Oh, to do that, you push and hold in the button here for 3 seconds and let go, and it should turn off. Yeah, okay, and now it's actually off. It's not shooting video or whatever. Okay, so let's talking about the app here. You see, they gave you some QR codes to scan. Actually, I don't know, the way I am, I like to know where I'm going. I don't like just to shoot a QR code and have it take me somewhere. So I just went ahead and opened up the Play Store, of course, using Android, and I just searched for, what was I searched for Cooky Cam. And I found an app, and I read the permissions. They all seem to make sense for what this thing's going to do, and I went ahead. That, by the way, was free. I'm not sure this might lead you to that same application. I'm not sure, but anyway, so that's what I did. Cooky Cam, and that is spelled like you see here with the cookie. Yes, I know that's not spelled correctly, but whatever. They can call it whatever they want. So Cooky and then Cam, not Cookie Life. So it'll be the cookie like that, and then C-A-M. Alright, let me go ahead and pull up that app on my phone, and we can kind of look at. Alright, so in order to get this connected to your phone for remote viewing and control of the device here, the steps you want to take are first power up the device, which the camera in this case, alright? Then you're going to go on your phone. I got my phone right here. So go on your phone, turn on Wi-Fi. Now go into settings. Turn push Wi-Fi. Of course, I'm on Android, so for you iOS people, do what you do. All right. So now you can see it's flashing over there, and I am at this time I'm searching for devices, and it's going to find my Cooky Cam here. All right. So just did the search. I located it. Came up as Cooky Cam. I'll go ahead and turn that on. Connect. Now, the first time you connect, it's going to ask for a password. That password was given to you in your instruction manual. It's a very generic code, so I would recommend, as do the instruction manual, they recommend you change it. Okay, I just got a notification here. I'll just show it to you here. It's just telling me that, hey, guess what? This won't allow you to connect to the internet. Yeah, so he's not going to connect you to the internet, but we knew that. So you say, okay. All right, now I'm connected. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit the Cooky Cam app, turn that on, and then, alright, so now I'm going to turn this around. Alright, so here's I'm in the app now, and you can see this. Now this is that number here, this SC.35 whatever, that is the same number that's on the bottom of my camera. So I'm guessing that helps you identify what Cooky Cam you're connecting to. Alright, so to test out this Cooky Cam video taking capability and live broadcast to my smart device, I have the Cooky Cam on. It's on video mode, so it has the red light. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this scene, but remotely, by checking it out on my phone here. So I'll go ahead and, this is the app. And I'll go ahead and turn on so we can see what the camera is seeing. Push that. Alright, so there we go. You can see. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera that you're seeing through. I'm going to turn that away from the scene, like so. And we're going to view what's going on my smartphone. I'm going to currently roll this green ball over there just to show that it's not a still, but it actually records live or real time. So and there we go. It works. Alright, so I've had the chance now to use this for a little bit, and I'm going to now show you some photos and some video that was captured using this camera, and only this camera. By that I mean not connected to a tablet or a smartphone or anything, just using what you see here. So we'll start with the photos first. Alright, now for the video. For this, I went ahead and I guess captured some relatively tricky subject matter. It's going to be fire. And the reason is because it has its own brightness. It obviously changes shape with the wind blowing the flames around and whatnot. So it's kind of a more tasking test than just shooting video of, I don't know, a lake with some boats on it or whatever. So here's that video. Alright, so here, let me give you my take on the day-to-day use of this and my impressions. Okay, so I'm going to start off by talking about the Wi-Fi, alright? Its ability to transmit a signal. Now, I tested this by going ahead and putting this pointed at my ceiling fan that I went into like 2 rooms down and watched the video coming in on my smartphone. And I noticed that every so often the image, or the video, would stop or pause and then go again. So it kind of had like a stutter, and that happened about maybe twice a minute. And I believe that cause of that's the fact that there's quite a bit of interference in my place from all the other Wi-Fi enabled devices that are using the Wi-Fi at the same time. Now, keep in mind, this uses its own Wi-Fi, so it's not using the same Wi-Fi as my router and all that stuff. But there still are other signals going through the air, so I would assume there's probably interference. Okay, however, if you were out like in a grassy field with almost no other Wi-Fi or obstructions, I'm not quite sure what the range on this would be. I'm pretty sure it would be better than 2 rooms down. Okay, next, let's talk about using it as a pocket camera, and by that I mean just something you can whip out your pocket, click a button, and take a photo or video. Now, this is probably I would say the more disappointing part of this device. And I don't mean image quality, because as you saw, the image and video is pretty good. It's actually better than I expected. But it's the fact that you can't just turn this device on, point at what you want, push a button, and take a photo. You can't do that. You have to, as I said earlier, you have to turn it on, start the photo every 15 seconds, and just hold the camera like this and count to 15 and hope that you get the picture you want. But of course your subject matter is probably long since moved, and I think that's a disappointment, because that would have been very easy to implement. I mean, yeah, just think of all the many little cheaper little spy cams, I mean, that are a lot smaller than this, and they could have managed to achieve that. So I don't quite understand why they omitted that as a feature on here. Alright, now let's talk about again, using just this device, let's talk about either shooting video or photo is the startup time. If you have this off in your pocket, oh, there's something I want to take a photo or a video of, you turn it on, yeah, get ready to wait. This thing goes through an initialization process, I think, every time. And the first time I thought, okay, first time use, I expect it. But after you've used it and everything's paired and all that, again, just using this camera as itself, on its own, I mean, you still have to wait, and it blinks, and it goes red, blue, and then it goes red. You think, oh, I'm good, I'm ready to take a video, and you click the button, and nothing happens, and then it goes back to blinking blue and red, and yeah, it's just way too long. I'm not expecting the snappiness of a dedicated professional digital camera, where you pretty much, as soon as you can push the button and the lens can come out, you're ready to go. I'm not expecting that. I'm being realistic, but still, this is way too darn long on that, and because of that, I really can't use it. So you have the option of kind of always keeping it on, which will deplete your battery, of course, or whatever. So, and those two things I think were kind of a disappointment, because I think they could have been easily remedied, especially the dedicated photo snap mode. That would have been really easy to implement. Okay. Alright, so with all that being said, would I recommend this? Yeah, I would. I would say that's based primarily on its price, its size, and also that for a 720 or HD, not full HD, but just HD camera, it actually does shoot pretty good video and photos. So yeah, there were some of those things I wished it had, such as a dedicated photo feature and all that, and startup time. I wish it was way less. But even with those, I'd say overall it's still a pretty good buy for the money.